we'll open with name, school, gimmick.
Yeah.
You start with Tuesday?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Tuesday. I represent the School of Law, Policing and Forensics, and my gimmick is the lovely baby Yoda, also known as the Child.
Amazing. And does that come with a story? Is there anything attached to that?
It was just kind of a present for getting my degree done, I suppose. So, yeah.
I feel that. Carl?
So I'm Carter. I lead Staffordshire Business School and Health and Social Care. My gimmick is a shark. He's a good boy. I bought him for getting into uni. I was about to call it school. It's not quite school. Getting into uni with bad grades, late UCAS deadline, and then problems with my course not actually registering some modules, so I didn't have a grade.
Self-con?
I'm alright. Mine is an Iron Man figure, which isn't even mine, it's my partner's.
Love it.
But my Master Chief one has a control on it, so I stole that one because it was empty. And I love Avengers.
Yeah?
That's about it there. My school, I represent Life Sciences and Education, but I'm technically a backup for DTA.
Interesting. Guess I'll introduce myself. Anthony Wallace. I'm the school lead for DTA. And my gimmick's obviously going to be the American football, because who doesn't love American football? Shut up. I knew you were going to say that. So we'll move on to our priorities. So I'm just going to quickly ask, what is it that is your top priority right now? And what's the first thing you need to do to make that reality?
So I would say that mine is a lot of representation, like academic, mainly at the moment, because we're in such an unprecedented time. Academic representation is very, very important right now, because that's what's important to students in this time, because we can't necessarily do anything else because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And to be able to excel and be able to work on it, I need to be able to hear from students and understand what's going on, and it's making sure I know where everyone's talking, so being on Facebook all the time, or having to be in Discord chats or just group chats, it's just, sometimes I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. I often find too much Facebook and people just randomly message and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes, let me have a look.
That's all I need is time, right? That's something we ain't got, but I've got, that's what I need right now. Carl?
Right now, my biggest priority is Christmas at the minute. So involved with the uni, trying to make sure we've got stuff for Christmas. So for students that are staying on campus, trying to make sure things are sorted for students to go home and then to come back again. It's a lot around that, making sure everything's accessible, it's all very inclusive, and just making sure we still are a community over the holidays. So that's right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be important to sort that out for Christmas, given some students might actually still be here.
Seems a lot are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So?
I think one thing I'm picking up at the moment is the students are struggling for money. And I think jobs is probably a really big thing. Obviously, a lot of people are safe in certain jobs, but obviously then those I guess you said students with their home businesses are struggling. I think the thing is really students have got that negative thing, which is where they haven't had the experience of working since they were 18. They've come to university, a lot of them, and they haven't gone straight into the industry. So it's how can we kind of get them ready for that in these times. Obviously, trying to look into that into New Year's Gradix is probably a priority as well, but it's going to be quite a yearly thing, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. As for myself, I suppose my key thing at the moment is trying to get the beginning of creativity sales kind of off the ground and maintain mental health languages. Next one's obviously going to be next Wednesday, 25th, and I think creativity sales is going to be a big one. I need to get some forms set up and sent out and get some more feedback from associate deans and some tutors and maybe some student feedback, just to kind of see if there's still definitely an interest there for that. So that's kind of my main priority right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. What is the funniest and stupidest thing you've had happen this week?
This week?
Yeah. If you can't do this week, just think of something that happened recently.
I think that conversation I was having about 10 minutes ago about the colour of houses.
Really?
It was just so conflicting. Like, if a house is grey, it's more premium.
Yeah. That's so bad. It's like judging the book. It's like that colour, judge book by colour. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? You know the book's going to be really good. Jeez, the amount of times I'll pick up a book and in the middle of a Waterstone, like, yeah, this looks sick, and then you open the first chapter and you read it whilst having a cost reading, like, this is awful.
Yeah, you can't exactly take it back when you've
Yeah.
already broken the
You've
spine.
already here, snap spine, Jesus.
You missed my full-on dad joke about it. So Mark was sat there talking about grey houses, and I was like, the Mark's sustainability guy, right? I was like, Mark, you like greenhouses, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, And then if nobody gets that, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Yourself, Carl?
I mean, yesterday was quite funny when Mark, engagement staff, had two of our student staff of engagement, and it was just very comical because I don't think all three have been in at the same time yet. And it was literally like a divorced dad who's just had both of his kids finally on the same weekend, and they all just caused so much trouble.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny because they cleaned out a cupboard that's not been touched for like a year. Most of it was so full, and they just walked around like little snowmen that would wind up and walked around, and glow stick glasses and everything. They just messed them out all day. It was just
Have fun.
quite entertaining. It was just like a TV show.
I think it's really ironic that the guy who's the funniest in the room just happens to be the engagement guy,
Yeah.
so he is the most engaging guy in the room. Yeah, kind of, it's quite nice touch to it, really. Quite
I'm struggling. I don't have that fun of life this week.
just in general,
6 months ago, I was sat in a chair in marketing with Ella, and she never lets me forget this. And I was testing what her kind of the back was like on the chair, and I went backwards. I just went across the
Snapped
office.
the chair.
Yeah, no, I broke the chair. She's got a new chair because of it. She got a whole new chair because I broke it.
I reckon I was employed by Ella. I think she knew.
I think she rigged it for me to sit on,
Yeah.
but she never lets me forget it. But I have to look at the new chair, so it's alright.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That leaves me. What is the stupidest and funniest thing that's happened to me recently? What do you think? Oh, put myself on the spot. Imagine that.
I'm just trying to think back to some of the conversations we've had in passive or like.
I'm trying to think back to a dodgy training session.
Yeah.
Your knee.
My knee. Oh, my knee's done. That is done. I wish that was funny. If it was funny, I'd use it, but it's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not funny. It's like, you stabbed your knee and it was very painful. Like, should you have run the route? No. Did I? Yes. Not my problem. Just hurts a lot now. So yeah, I guess, okay, I'll use that. That's the stupidest / funniest thing. Funny for everyone else, quite not so funny for me. So I'll take that. I'll take the knee snapping in training again. That's...
You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Let me run it off. No.
Yeah.
No.
Knee completely pops out. Oh, disgusting. Yeah, not a very fun time. So I'll move on to the next thing, which are basically just questions we ask in general. So just a brief overview of stuff that we do, what is it our job roles are. It kind of goes back to the first question, but it's not really, because it's more like a broad generic sort of what is it we do, like actually do, what are we doing, what we do from day to day. What are you doing about certain things you want to do, and why is it often, I think the big one is why is it exciting to be an officer? What is it that intrigued you to run the campaign and become an officer? So we'll start with you then.
Yeah, for me, I think being an officer is a very selfless job because you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for 16,000 other people, which is the amount of students on well, not on campus, but studying at staff.
Yeah.
And you've got to give up a lot of things that you would do for yourself to be able to support and represent students. So in my first year, I was very much like, I didn't necessarily realise that at first. I thought I still would have time to be able to do the things I wanted to do. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. The students sort of dictate what you do because you're representing them. And to me, I'm one of those people that prefers to give back rather than take. I would rather support and help than just ask for it. And my university experience is I've had support left, right and centre in sort of in timescales and stuff. But I wanted to be able to give that back somehow, and I couldn't pay money to give that back because I wouldn't know where to put it, and it's having the money to give it back, and I thought this was the best way that I could do that. And students obviously have faith in me to be able to do that, otherwise they wouldn't have elected me into the role twice at this point.
Yeah. So how would your regular day look normally? Like what would you, should we you say do from 9 up to about 5ish? What do you do?
So I always check my emails straight away. As soon as I start work, it's emails, because you can guarantee there is important information in there that you need to know or that you will need to circulate to students. If there's any pressing issues that need to be dealt with in that day. Making sure you've got all your papers for meetings, because you have to attend meetings every day and discuss whether it's the day-to-day running of the union, such as like trustee board or MCM or leadership team, but then you'll also have your meetings for your campaign stuff, so anything that you're working on for the team manifesto or personal actions that you're taking on, you would obviously be doing that through emails and communicating with the university staff before attending those meetings. So on a basic day, it's your email check-in and attending your different meetings. But then sometimes you get fun stuff where we will film for marketing, or we'll get to be involved in more fun stuff as such to do with the wider community and campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. So Carla?
Well, I don't really know what pushed me to run. It was just, I wanted to last year. I didn't really know what it was, so it got to about 10 minutes before nominations closed, and I was like, I'm going to do this, and I went, oh wait, no, I'm a first year, and this is actually a lot more than it seems. I'm not going to do this. Probably a good job I didn't. And then I was and ahhing the whole time for a whole year about should I run, should I not run. I wasn't going to, and then it got into the week, and again it was the last day, and I kind of went, you know what, I want to help. I want to do things for other people and just put myself out there and just gather things and try and help it. And I don't know why, and I don't know where it really came from, but it stuck.
Yeah.
Because I think that had been what I'd had on and off in my head the whole year, and it worked. And apparently it worked for a lot of people that voted for me. So yeah, it's just it's just about giving back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what would you say your personal day-to-day business would be from 9 to 5ish?
So I usually get in, grab a coffee from Squeeze Box,
Smart.
and make some toast as well. I've started keeping a loaf of bread and butter in the fridge, so I have breakfast every day.
Bread in the fridge.
Yeah, there's bread in the fridge because I use it for my toast.
Probably shouldn't have told us that. That's
Please don't eat my bread. Have a
It's
look.
bread, it's in the, I don't know why you put bread in the fridge.
When he now has to tell her. That's what we say. That's all.
Cheese.
Marmite.
And no.
To be fair, somebody put honey on some toast for me once, right? And it was this year that I discovered this, and it is surprisingly good. It was like shockingly tasty. I was like, this shouldn't work with butter, but it works.
That's one of the reasons I have a big bottle of honey on my desk now.
Nice.
Well,
My
I've only
toast,
started
my
eating
tea.
honey like this year. And then, like in school, there was a kid who used to have honey and mustard sandwich to get
No.
like. And I sat there and I was like, I still hate mustard, but it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And now honey on bread or like honey on toast is like the bomb. Like it's
It
so
is.
It
good.
is good. I've also started using it as a natural replacement for sugar. So in my tea, I'll have honey in teas now.
Literally.
Yeah.
And that adds a unique taste to the tea, but because the water is so harsh here in Stoke, I have to put something in because it just tastes horrible.
It's so lime scaly.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, yeah, you're gonna sort it out. Stoke, sort your water out. But in
It's
general,
good for your throat as well.
huh?
Honey's really soothing.
Yeah, precisely. So that's a big shout. You haven't started doing that for honey in your tea because that's
Exactly.
My tea is like
a banging option.
putting it in tea. Like I do the same thing. It's like when you put your 2 spoons in your tea, it's like okay, I'll have a spoon as well. Like, so every time I like, have a spoonful of honey, I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Sorry, we didn't mean to bombard on your
No,
day-to-day business there, but we got
Nice
excited
chat
about
about
honey.
So yeah, so I grab a Squeeze Box or make a cup of tea, grab some toast, sit down with them and check all my emails, my teams. I go through the Facebook groups and Messenger. Because quite often there's just random bits of questions coming up in the group, so we try and answer them. See if I've got any papers I need reading. I usually read them a few days before. See what's on for the next few days, if I have any clashes. And just kind of do that all day. Read papers, check my emails, respond to emails, get stuff going, meetings. Varies.
First. Connor?
What are the questions again?
So, basically, what is it you do on a day-to-day basis?
What made you run?
What's your kind of like, what do you generically are working on right now? And then, why is it you became an officer? Because this is your second year, so
Yeah,
you've got
okay,
more than all of
Okay,
us.
so
Yeah.
I
I don't
guess
think it's so confusing.
the reason I ran for a second time was I didn't want to leave. Really,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't ready to go.
Commit to the cause.
Yeah, I've only got like what 6 7 months left, so short and sweet. I guess coming in for the first time, I don't really have a reason why I ran. I think the thing is, everyone always mentions it in passing comments. Like, have you ever looked at this? Because I know you're leaving this year. It's like, yeah, but okay, but why? Like, I've never got involved with it before, and I wasn't. It was really surprisingly, I was never involved with the union in that way before an officer at all. I worked in LRB, and that was the only thing I'd done. I'd never been a course rep. I'd never attended meetings. I'd never come to trustee board or read upon it. I'd never been involved in it at all. And then one of my friends was previously an officer, and he kept pushing me towards it, and I was like, oh, get your foot back, I'll start having a look at it. And eventually I got into it, and I hated politics. And eventually it actually got me really drawn in, and I was like, oh, I kind of like having a bit of a debate, it's a bit fun. Even if I'm wrong, I can still push it, you know. And it slowly got me into it. It's like, okay, let's address the issues. It's actually, actually they're quite relevant to me. And eventually, when you start writing that manifesto, when you're thinking about running, you start to actually realise how big of an issue they can be for you, and how much it might affect other people. And you kind of like, okay, let's give it a go. And then suddenly, I ended up getting in. And then, well, I'm here for another year. So yeah, what's the question?
Day to day.
Day to day. It's not really a 9-to-5 job, though, is it, guys?
No, 100%.
So everyone's like, it's an office job. You sit at the union. It's like, okay, well, outside of COVID, you'd probably be here for like half an hour to an hour a day if it wasn't COVID. So you'd be running around the campus to meetings. Sometimes you'd even end up at Shrewsbury or Stafford or London. Like, you'd literally be all over the place. And that's the nice part of the job, because you're not stuck in one location. You get to travel. You get to meet students who might even know who you are, but when they do know, it's a bit different. I guess like you said, like, yeah, there's the emails, there's checking your messages, because there's always those queries come in, but each day is different, and usually you do a lot more outside of work than you do in work. You guys are in hotels, we have students evacuated from halls. No one expected to be in the sports hall at 7:30 at night with a dog, eating pizza, checking to make sure the students are okay. It's like, I guarantee nobody ran for the job thinking that was going to happen. And then suddenly, you're there. So I think that kind of adds a bit of fun to the job, to be honest, because it's never the same thing, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can come in and be like, so we've got a student needs help finding football. Do you want to go help? It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's all over the place, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Right, it's just fun.
Me. What's the question again?
That's
Alright, okay. What do I do on a day-to-day basis? It isn't far too different from everyone else in the room, obviously. Come in, check your emails. No, hang on. Come in, grab a coffee, check my emails, see what's on the agenda for the day or the week. Prep if there's any particularly big meetings, or start looking at manifesto stuff. We can maybe push here or there. I think I've been quite lucky with regards to the things I'm working on, because they're very quite here and now, so I've been able to just push it straight away and just go, right, we're doing this, and this is what we're going to be going, that's how we're going to go about it, and just getting that conversation going as well, which is a big thing. So that's how I'd kind of work it. But yeah, like I said, coffee, emails, see what's on the agenda, and then just do my emails or do the meeting really, essentially. So there's nothing too different to everybody else, obviously, for obvious reasons. Like, it's easy for you, for Connor and Tuesday, because obviously you both done this twice, so you've had a completely different experience compared to what you've had to deal with this year, whereas Connor's kind of went from his first experience to his second experience with COVID in between.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're the unique one here, in terms of like you've had quite literally two very vast different experiences of what an officer is.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to see moving forward what that would look like on a normal basis instead of a COVID orientated.
Tell us.
Yeah. what differs? I mean, funnily enough, that's one of the questions later on.
Yeah.
But might as well just say it now.
Yeah, we can pick it up now. I think right now is obviously there's so much going on, and I with sort of the uncertainty coming out of the government as such and the guidance that they are providing, it's sometimes I think there's still a lot of fear amongst students going forward anyway, so as part of our role this year is to be able to help students understand properly what's going on. Whereas in the first year, a lot of things was just, it happened as you went. You sort of had to hit the ground running and know what you were doing, because if you didn't know what you were doing, you would miss a meeting on the other side of campus, or you might have had to have been down at Stafford doing a panel. And if you didn't know, sort of thing, that was it. The whole sort of the agenda for the week is up in the air. So even though it's a little bit more complex this year, you still have a lot of time to think about things and really reflect on how it's going. But I'm not trying to say this year's better or that my previous experience was better. I think they're both equally important and good for their own different things. It's just obviously in comparison this year it's going a little bit slower paced because of we're not having to run across campus constantly to different meetings.
I do think it's a really good point because I think COVID was not a blessing. I don't want it to be a blessing. I think COVID was a thing that got everyone kind of in gear to say, okay, every week everyone meets up and says, here's the situation, here's what's going on.
Yeah.
This class is changing this way. This shop is now open this time, and every week everyone does those routines. So coming in, it's kind of like that. Those updates are set there and they're not changing. Or like you said, coming in previous years, it'd be like, what's happening this week? It'd be like, well, we've got this thing on, and then this isn't here next week, and it's like it's really sporadic and different. So I think what you said really hits the nail on the head. It's a lot more. It gets well organised, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well with the introduction of having Teams meetings, you haven't got to worry about a meeting being cancelled while you're on your way to it. That's one of the best things. The amount of times I'd be sat here and be like, I really need to head to a meeting over at Ashley 2. I'd be over there and I'd get there and someone would be there and be like, oh, it's just been cancelled because 3 people have sent apologies and there's only 5 of us in this meeting. So it's like, oh, okay, walk all the way back.
Drive into Stafford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely, I'm excited to have that experience one day, maybe, hopefully January onwards. We might get a little bit of that towards the end of our sabbatical year, but I definitely want that experience of having to run around campus. I think I was quite excited when we were going to a meeting with exec for a reflection on what the union's doing, whatever it is.
Oh, the QBR.
QBR, yeah. And I really enjoyed that because you're out of the office, you get out, you're going about, Like, I think that made me really enjoy the beginning of the year as well because COVID was like, it was kind of like this thing coming out summer, like, oh, it's there, but it's not as prevalent. So it's not like maybe it's about to go. And then, you kind of sort of, you have a couple of beers, you're chilling, you're hanging out with some of the students, you're talking, like they're all new, the vibrancy there, the kind of energy on campus is there because everyone's excited. It's a new environment, some new people. It's just something out of the monotony of what COVID was, I think, from March onwards. And that was quite nice to see that. So I'd love to see that on a scale without COVID. I think that would be a very interesting time to be honest.
Welcome would have been so different.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
just so much more fun. Like,
it's that September, but like vibe, like you come out, you got all the parents moving in, like campus is rammed and you can't park anywhere, but it's nice. It's the vibes and the feel of like. It's like when as a kid you go to the like I don't know a fair or Toys R Us or something. It's just like whoa.
This is it. Yeah. It's
right.
I will say welcoming was nowhere near as tiring as my first one this year.
I can imagine.
But obviously because we weren't doing such long, in my first welcome we would have to do such long shifts as such because we'd have to be there from the point that parents and new students were coming on to move in to the point where people were turning up for the moving party at LRB and we'd be there sort of running up and down the queues, making sure people had their student cards, getting them ready to go. Whereas we couldn't really do that this year because we didn't have a move-in party. We had the online one, so we were all sat in the the Twitch chat when that was happening, and we were just all talking to Dom, who was DJing and is one of the student staff. Shoe on head.
Shoe on head.
So,
slipper on head.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the weirdest things was expecting to be absolutely exhausted after welcome, but actually feeling refreshed and excited and relaxed.
It's that week off you're always told like welcome is so strenuous because like the thing is obviously you've got flats with 3 floors so you're carrying boxes up every time, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're always advised, okay, book a week off, book some days off after welcoming because you're going to be knackered because you've got like 9 to 14 days of pure like probably 9 to 9 work really, isn't it?
It's like I wouldn't even say 9 to 9 because I was doing days where it was like 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the morning the following day because we were doing the nighttime events. But it was also we were working up to welcome and then welcome would happen on the Saturday. So instead of having Saturday, Sunday off like we were working Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, and then we might get that Sunday off if there wasn't no event happening. So sometimes we would work for like 14 days straight during welcomes. So I think that was one of the, I wouldn't say better things. I'm not saying it's a bad thing because I absolutely love Welcome. That's what keeps me going, is seeing the smiles and the excitement of students on campus, because it's new and it's different and they're away from their family and really excited to start their courses and just get involved, and that's what would keep you going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I just realised I didn't actually say why I want to be an officer.
Sorry.
No, not at all. That's the whole point. This is why we started doing this. Like, it's just about how.
What was the question again?
Yeah, what was the question again? Yeah, okay, so mine was very last minute. I'm not gonna lie to you. I flirted with the idea in November just to wind Connor up. I'm gonna run there.
Sat there moaning that you were training, just like, put your name in.
Yeah.
Do it.
I just kept getting asked, and I was like, do you know what? It's a gamble, because it was such a gamble for me, because at the time, all my deadlines were due in. It's like the week after the election process was happening.
Yeah.
So I had to really like decide whether, like, am I going to just risk my degree to run for a year in office, or am I just going to take the hit on the degree and then just have an experience as an officer anyway, if I get in? Because obviously it's always that big if. You don't know if you're going to win. That's the payoff. That's the payoff right there. You make a decision. It's a gamble. You do it, fail the degree, you might not get in. You do it, you don't fail the degree, but you might get in. Like, it's one of those weird things. So I was just like, do you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I think for me it was about pushing myself to just do a campaign. I've never done that before. I've never been put in a situation where, like, this is what I need to do, this is what I'm really passionate about. Now, what I do recall doing from year one, because obviously I travelled in a lot as a commuter from Wigan in my first year, and that broke me because I didn't really know, coming from an army background, coming from Wigan, travelling every day, financially and like mentally I was exhausted, because I was trying to do all these new things and different things. I was trying to learn my degree because I've never done it before. I just got really lucky, like Carter and stuff like that. Like, I didn't have the degree, the skills to get in, but then the head of the course took a chance on me and was like, really like you in the interview process, really like your application, just come down, just do it, give it a shot. I was like, cool. So I did. So it was all up in air for me. But I remember throughout that year, there's things that bothered me about things. Like, I was just like, why is that a problem? Why is that even an issue? Why is that not being addressed? And there's like these little things that used to eat at me a lot. And I'm like, and I have patience, but then when it's so obviously like could be fixed with a simple conversation, a simple phone call to somebody, it's like, why is that not being done? So and I think I just built up over the years. And I was just like, so by the time I came to my manifesto, I was like, do you know what? I actually have ideas. Like, I actually have ideas. I think the hardest part for me was coming up with a theme. Like, the theme was the hard part. Like, how am I going to sell this to people? How am I going to, like, put myself out there and be like, be different, push yourself?
The gimmick. The gimmick.
The gimmick, yeah. Well, how are you going to, how are you going to be endearing to people? That's the key right there. And I was just like, do you know what, sod it. And then that's why I went out my way. And that's why you saw billboards with my face on it. And that's why the design process I thought was actually amazing. Like, and that all happened within like a 24-hour period. And that really pushed me because I didn't stop. Like, the ideas were just kept coming and coming and coming. And I was like, this is amazing. So I was writing it all down. And I was just like, but what was important to me was having a manifesto that was practical. That I can walk away and be like, we've done this and we can see it in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
If it develops and evolves into whatever it is in 5 years' time, because obviously we're not going to be here that long. Unless, you're doing your PGCE and then you're doing your masters and your doctors or whatever it is. As some students do. How long have you been there? 8 years? What? What are you doing here? 8 years? Jesus. But some people do that. So like, anyway, as I said, I was like, okay, well, I've got all these ideas and I want to do it, and I was like, fine, I'll run. And then I did, and then obviously it paid off. And then somehow my degree paid off. And this is where I have to say the dirty word COVID and thank it for it, honestly, because if it wasn't for COVID, I'd outright admit I'd have failed my degree. I'd have failed it. Like, I wouldn't have had the extensions, I wouldn't have had the support, I wouldn't have had the... So, yeah, I know, hide away from the dirty word. But it's true, and it's like, I can't deny that. And that's why I made a very solid argument at the beginning of the year when they were trying to justify that we're getting grades and extensions, and whether or not we have a COVID 2 or 3 or 4 going into next year. Like, oh, should we have extensions up until certain? Absolutely you should. Like, that's saved. I guarantee you saved up more students than you did not doing that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a really silly argument not to. So, but that is to come, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the moment, like, these things were drawn shut and we were all in here for, like, that first, like, why do you want to run? What does being an officer do? And I sat there and there was, like, 5 chairs empty, and I was like, I swear more people told me they were going to run. I was like, Anth's not here.
Yeah.
And you just slowly walk through the door, you got your backpack on, your checkered shirt, And of course you had a bloody coffee in your hand.
Hey.
Was this the one where it was like the first briefing?
It was
where
like
we
the
all-
first one. So
I
it was
was
like a semicircle
Yeah,
here.
because we were all sat in here, I swear. Because I think I walked through the door because I kept it a secret that I wasn't running. I didn't tell anyone as such. I think I only sort of told people after we'd done that briefing.
Yeah.
And I think I walked through the door and Connor was like, "What?"
Yeah.
There was, I wanted more people there, and then I saw the same faces, and then I was like, where's that? He's not here. You said he was going.
I think I just come off a shift, you know. I think I had a shift.
Yeah, I
and
think you said that as well.
I had to quickly get changed to come in.
Mm.
And I was like, but I had the important thing, which is coffee, right? So, yeah, so I'd worked with Squeeze all that morning up until 12, I think it was, and then got changed and came in.
Well, I love those events, like pre-election. I think they're really fun because you sit there and you can see everyone's so like.
Yeah, like, what's going on?
Huh?
We did.
But we didn't have face masks on at that point either as well. Like,
Yeah.
everyone could sit next to each other like, hey man.
Even though it was still a thing, like it was looming.
It was
at that
like just like the
point.
start of it, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
You
yeah.
could watch it spreading. The main one was when we watched it. Someone went to a ski resort in France, I think, or Switzerland. Because I remember I was looking at it on the news at some time around, like before we'd even been elected, and then you just saw it boom from there. We were still like, nah, be real,
Just
not gonna get
remember
us.
campus going dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
right guys, election week.
Literally,
Where are the
it was
people?
It was that week
Yeah.
when the election happened.
Everyone
that
went home.
campus just went
Yeah.
quiet.
Because
Because we'd wander around and we'd just shout across to each other, like, "You seen anyone?" And it'd be like, "Nope."
Yeah.
It was so ghostly. Like, it was
Yeah.
eerie. It was so eerie. It was like, you two wouldn't really get this because obviously we're working from home, but like during summer, like when you're in the office all the time and the campus is absolutely dead, it's the weirdest thing because you come into work like, is it going to be like this all year? But you see no one. It's the worst thing in the world, and it's. I hope it's different this year, but I think we just have to wait and see because everything's changing every 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Like we just don't know, do we?
Well, we've kind of sort of segued into the next question, which is what would you recommend people to run next year? Who's like,
Why would I recommend?
yeah, why would you recommend people
Yeah.
run next year?
I would, because obviously I can't run again. But no,
Watch us.
Bylaws changing law
Literally.
for 5
Yeah.
years.
well, it's not even part of the bylaws. It's actually law.
Yeah,
it's part of a charity commission.
Yeah.
So, because there's a separate sort of like legal document for sabbatical officers. I remember looking into it because I was being a little bit nerdy. But for me, I would recommend people do it because it's a great experience. And I don't know if you guys have found this yet, but if you'd have said to me 10 years ago I'd be interested in politics, I would have told you to get in the sea kind of thing. But I would
Get in
never
the
be
bin.
interested in politics. But this job makes you very political because you have to be in tune with the government sort of thing to find out what they're doing in terms of higher education and student rights. And with NUS you sort of eased into it a little bit because there is a whole other level of politics which is student politics. And I think being a sabbatical officer is that first step into politics as such, because there is the politics of a campus election. You'd be like, don't vote for them, their policy is to do this, but this person wants to do this kind of thing. So if you are interested in politics, get involved. But the only issue is, as a campus, we aren't political.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily take a stance in comparison to other universities. We're very, very unpolitical as a student body. But it is a great opportunity to be able to get involved and give back.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely put your name forward.
100%. Carl?
For me, it was, I don't even know. Back when we did campaign, I was too anxious to talk to students, so I couldn't campaign. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I wasn't really talking to anybody because I couldn't do it because I had a block that it wouldn't happen. You see me now, going to jiu-jitsu the other week before lockdown 2 Electric Boogaloo. I just saw students outside copying the moves and I could just straight out go and talk to them. Bear in mind, I've never been able to really do sports because I've been anxious, and definitely not then leave it to talk to students to connect with them. So I don't even know what it was, but that helped me a lot. So
you've learned
I
to
don't
sort
even
of
know.
grow with the role as you move forward.
yeah, definitely a lot.
Yeah. Carl?
I think try like exactly what those two are kind of said, but trying to summarise into more. It's like before, if I would have left uni, I would have said, okay, so I can run a team in a bar, I can make some cool cocktails, you know, I can make coffee, kind of run a club night on my own, you know, I've got to gain those skills at uni. Now I can turn around and say, look, yeah, so I've hosted general meetings for a 3.6 million charity. You know, we've kind of sat there for the trustee board and reported our actions. You know, we've supported the doing stuff with the furlough scheme this year, that kind of thing. Like, you don't come in, like you said, you don't come into that thinking, oh, I'm going to do that next week.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you know, you're coming out with like, okay, well, here's my CV now. I can kind of put myself some brag rights on there, you know, and show how much I've improved as a person. But I think your personal skills as well. Like my degree now, like I loved it when I was studying it, but now it's 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at completely going into marketing or somewhere just from being involved in small amount of campaigns. Like geez, it's political. I could go into. I was going to say, I'm trying to make sure I stay within some boundaries. I could go and work for some political parties and enjoy doing the marketing for it now. And I would have sat there and gone, get in the bin. I'm not doing that. It's not for me. And now I sit there and I'm like, actually, that's the one.
Yeah.
It's alright.
What about you?
I definitely would recommend anyone. I'm a big, I mean, you as a team already know this, but I'm a big fan of pushing yourself mentally and physically. So I think if it's something that's going to become, if you think it's going to be a challenge, it's going to push you and maybe help you grow as a person, I absolutely think you should do it. Because at the end of the day, you're only going to benefit from having it, 1, on your CV, 2, getting comfortable with being around people and talking to people and, and getting in amongst it basically. So I think if you're looking for that sort of challenge, maybe that's something in your life that you're thinking, maybe this is something I need to do just to maybe better myself. I could tell you right now it will better you. And the support team that comes with that is incredible. The CEO Ken, CFO Kev and Lisa, the CEO, they're all amazing support teams. So they'll only do the best with you moving forward. If you're struggling in a certain area, they'll tell you how to get over that or help you push yourself to get over that bridge. And Jamie's the same. The whole team really here is the same. And I think this is definitely the environment to be able to do that. You wouldn't necessarily get that outside of anywhere else, because obviously in the real world it's a little bit different. But I think as a stepping stone, I think absolutely you should run. But I'm not going to lie to you, it is situational. I've got a gamble on the table that just happened to pay off.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not saying it's going to pay off for everybody, and it definitely won't pay off for everybody. But that's the choice you make, and that's probably like a very big adult choice you have to make. So yeah, I absolutely would recommend somebody running as an officer.
I think working for the union as well allows someone to sort of grow up and mature.
Yeah.
Because I will say, when I ran in my first year and was elected, I was a completely different person, and since then I have matured so much, kind of thing. And you could probably ask quite a few people here, be like, in comparison, what was I like in my first year to now, which was obviously 2 years ago now, would have been my first year. And the people that work here will allow you to sort of mature and push you in the best way. And I think what you said was really quite spot on, because it is a big support network, and they will help you and support you and push you as well.
I think the word is probably they're wise, aren't they? They're so wise. It's like if as a kid you'd have that moment where that one guy maybe sat on the park bench telling you a story and it makes you learn something. And it's like here, everyone has those stories, so everyone will say something different that'll teach you a small percentage of what makes you who you are when you leave.
Yeah.
And you never want to think about when you're leaving, but everyone always says when you come in you'll be a different person. You just shrug it off, don't you? You're like, no, I'm not going to change, I'm still going to be my childish self. And it's like, what happened? In the best way though.
Yeah.
I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think we all have in some aspects.
Yeah. 100%, and that's how it should be. We should all have some sort of individualised idea of what it is, but it's all going to be similar. So, moving on to the next question then. What are the things you're most passionate about Tuesday?
Oh,
and this isn't a part of the role, this is just in general about you as a person, what makes you passionate?
Yeah.
Apart from Shadowlands.
Apart from Shadowlands.
Damn it.
And Connor, that's his one as well. I think overall, I've over the past sort of 18 months, I've become very sort of passionate about feminism and feminism within gaming, because for those that don't know, like I really enjoy streaming and just playing games outside of work, and I came up against a lot of misogyny and sexism in that area, and
It's
even
so sexualized.
yeah, and even with my degree as well, I was sort of sexualized, and there was a lot of sexism, misogyny, and a lot of stereotypes of girls within games design, and I looked into it a lot, and then I ended up just going down the wider route of feminism and working on myself and understanding sort of why I did certain things as well. But mainly it's to do with gaming now, because that is something I'm so passionate about, and sometimes I just don't feel comfortable in that community. Because it doesn't matter what I do, someone's going to make a judgment about my body just because I'm a woman, and it's just like, that's not for you to comment on. So, and it's sort of given me a backbone as well to be able to go, hey, that's not okay. Maybe try and educate yourself a bit, but not being a dickhead about it.
Have you seen that new thing out similar to that now, where it's like if someone makes a very sexist joke, you turn around and ask them why it's funny, and then they can't explain why it's funny because it puts them on the spot. And it's like, okay, well, it's not really funny then, is it? And it's a really, if you think about it quite literally, it's a really good process of trying to counter someone, because it doesn't create a confrontation, but it just makes them sit and think. Which is
back foot, isn't it?
It just you walk away knowing you've not caused a scene, but you've taught them something. I think that's probably one of the best ways to handle it now.
I'll agree. Well, I have used that. Like, I've seen that example, and I have done that quite a few times, with not just within gaming, but in real life. It's like, well, why is that funny? And then they just sort of go, just because it is. It's like, I don't get it. Can you explain it? And when they have to think about it, and you've asked for an explanation, people are just like, and then they realise that maybe they shouldn't have said that. So yeah, that's one of the massive things I'm passionate about.
Yourself, Carl?
I'm also going to go for a little bit of a deeper one of gender education. It's something I've been on about. I love that. I tried to check my watch for the years. Years don't come on your watches. For 5 or 6 years now, all about gender education, challenging when people are transphobic, about just general LGBT education as well, because it's a big part of my life and it always has been and probably always will be. And the amount of hate online you get for it, and just in person as well, just all over. You're like, oh hi, I'm non-binary, I use they them pronouns. That doesn't exist, you don't exist, you're just pretending. Whew. You get so angry, and when you get for so long, you just get used to it and you just educate instead, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I've got so many resources and so much information out there at some point. I've counted this and I've counted that and I've got an argument for that. And I'm not quite like that anymore, because it is very draining to constantly be fighting for that. But that's probably something that's one of my big passions still, is still fighting for education. This is where you find a game to...
To World of Warcraft.
League, World of Warcraft.
I like playing games. Like, I guess I'm going to go straight to the kind of hobby passion. So I'm a massive game head. Like, everyone always speaks about the Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter, and I'm sort of like, who? And they're like, well, you don't really like games, and I'm like, yeah, but I like these kind of games. Like, I get to jump off a building and survive, like World of Warcraft style. Like, I think for me, games, I was going to come and study it, almost at staffs to be honest, and my mum kind of twisted me away from it and went, there's not much in the industry there. And that upset me, but I'm kind of thankful for it, because if I was studying it and doing it as a job, it would have taken the fun side away from me, and it probably would have ruined it for me, to be honest. So I did a bit differently and went to films, and now films ruined for me instead. But that's fine, that's how it works. But like, I think gaming is probably my biggest one. I guess like yourself, American football is obviously a passion for me now as well. I never really knew anything about it. I'm still learning. But the thing is, for me, like here at the uni, I always saw a team always, and I was just like, oh, they're going to be like jocks. It's an American football thing, you know. And then until you speak to people and you actually have a go at it, you don't think about it. And now that I'm in, I don't want to leave the team. Like I know I've got to leave uni one day, but I don't want to detach. Like my jersey is my jersey, my helmet is my helmet. Like it's just that I just want to keep playing. I don't want to go play for another team. I'd do a PhD if it meant I could just play for the Stallions. I don't want to leave, but I know I have to, and that's the saddest part.
Yeah.
Don't think anyone wants to leave uni. would you?
Yeah.
No, that's the thing that's holding me. It wouldn't even be my friend. Well, the Steins are my friends, but it's the team itself, knowing you can play for them. It's not that I've got to grow up. It's like I could do this till I die. Like it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna jump probably on the bandwagon of that slightly, and then I'll probably also jump on the bandwagon for games, because at the end of the day, I can absolutely support that games get ruined for you if you study games. They
Yeah.
do, 100%. Did games design and programming, and now I can't play a game without going, I know how to fix that, and not only do I know how to fix that, that should have been dealt with before getting sold to everyone, like millions of people. Why haven't you fixed this? So yeah, I get really, really wound up about that, which probably adds to my passion, because I do love gaming. I like games, I like getting introduced games. I like learning a new game. I think just the whole area of general was quite a big thing for me now. It never used to be. I don't know, I kind of always kind of like went into it and then came out of it, and then went into it and came out of it. And obviously then I came to uni, and it forces you to get back into it, because obviously you to study the game before, and the content and how it works and the gameplay and design, general design. And yeah, I love it, but because of it, as Connor rightfully said, it ruined it for me a little bit. Now I can't play the game without judging the game, but it is what it is. The same thing that happened when I did acting. Now I can look at acting and look at the scene and look at the script and go, that's pretty bad. So yeah, it's I'm not surprised that it can happen with gaming as well, really. But jumping on the back of the American football, man, absolutely. One of my big things coming here at university was to try everything. My whole plan was to try something new. So completely trying something new. Anything I've done previously wasn't an option for me. I refused to do football. I refused to do rugby, because I've done it. I've done it on and off my whole life. I was like, it's not about that. This is about growing and learning something new. So I did. And I spent a year doing American football and getting absolutely trolloped to American football and looking like a muppet and not really understanding the game. But I'm very inquisitive and very willing to learn something new. So that benefited me. So now American football, as rightfully it should be, is one of my biggest passions. Unfortunately, the injury set me back, but I'm not worried. I'll be back, bigger than ever. Insert Rocky Balboa song. But yeah, that's kind of like it. I'm also really passionate about science and technology in general. Big fan of just like new tech and new science and new discoveries, and like I'm a big buff when it comes to stuff like that. I'll sit and listen to like a Joe Rogan podcast and just binge on him talking about like, I don't know, bloody aliens or something, I don't know, like just something really out there and a bit dodgy. But I love that stuff. Like it interests me. It keeps me kind of inspired to be sort of involved in that sort of industry. So yeah, it's kind of like my big passions, I think, at the moment. Like at least the ones in my mind. So that's kind of really it.
Just to ask you a question about games, because I understand when it comes to doing a games degree, you just sort of like you can't look at a game in the same way again. But do you find that when you're playing a game you really enjoy, that you love it more because you kind of understand the sort of the effort and the depth that's gone into it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely have a better appreciation for how games are made. And I think if anything, it's like, you used to get really impatient as a kid, like, why is the game going to take 3 years to come out? But then there's a reason it's taking 3 years to come out, man. Like, granted, when it comes out, it should be ready to bloody go.
Instead of Cyber 2077.
Coming in 2077 at this rate. Would you say that about VFX?
In terms of what, how long it takes?
Well, even though you're like, I don't enjoy, or I struggle with films now, with your course, would you say that you actually appreciate things when you enjoy them because you understand the amount of effort that goes into it?
I think so, but it depends on the film. So if I sit and watch, what's a really good film? If I take the new Fantastic Beasts and I take the old Harry Potter, I sit there and I'm like, what is that one doing? That is crap. Get it out. And I sit there really not liking the film at all, because I'm sat there like, even I could do that better and I wasn't that good. And then suddenly I look at Fantastic Beasts and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go in the industry, because they've just pulled it off massively. Like, so it ruins it for myself and it pushes me away from it. But I think yeah, like it does kind of ruin it but make it good for me at the same time.
Yeah.
No, I had similar. So when I was really into my film still and engaged on my course, I couldn't watch films. I couldn't watch TV, because I'd sit there and I'd go, oh, that's that kind of shot. Oh, that's that kind of angle. Oh, they should have done that. Why did they do that? Oh, they've done that. And I couldn't enjoy anything. So my brain was just seeing every technical aspect. And then when I started to realise film wasn't for me, I did start to enjoy them again more, which is good because now I can watch things. So at least I have them back. But no, it definitely made me appreciate them. So Kingsman and Now You See Me are really good ones of my favourites of one-shot scenes where it's really complicated, and they're not actual one-shots because they can't be, but it looks like it's filmed in one take of stunts and VFX and everything. So I've always have been and always will be so amazed by those kind of things.
Well, there's that new film, is it 1917? Is it one of the most recent war films? Like, it's all one, the whole film is like one take or something?
Yeah,
And it's like, you sit there, and you sit there like, how the hell did they pull that off? Like, if one person messes up...
What if you messed up your line right at the end of the film?
Exactly! Like,
Go on, do it all again!
Just imagine, I'd lose my head.
That's quite literally one of my dreams, is if I was to go back to acting after doing the uni role, is to be in a war film. As you know, I have a military background, so like I've always been fascinated by like Black Hawk Down, or like Saving Private Ryan, or like the big TV series like Band of Brothers. Like, man, I would take an arrow to the knee, right, to be in Band of Brothers. I'm not even kidding. Like 100%. Yes, that was another Squirrels reference. Yes, it was worth it. 100%. I'd do it.
So what's your favourite war film then? If you had to pick one...
Black Hawk Down.
Wrong question for me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I like that.
World of Warcraft should be yours. That's a film.
Warcraft,
and it's technically a war film, yeah.
Yeah.
I know loads of you either love that film or you hate it.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed
If
it.
you know lore, like you start to pick things out, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, this is where the geeks come out, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's that character, ooh. It's like, ooh.
Confession time. I've yet to see the World of Warcraft movie. I've not seen it. Nope. Can you believe it?
I haven't
Nice.
either.
Hey!
But I'm also not
Air
into
five.
games, so...
COVID safe Air 5. There we go.
Connor's just having like a brain.
I will watch
meltdown.
it. We will make a film night out of it when we can.
The second one's started to be in production, isn't it?
Well, I heard that rumour because I heard there's meant to be 3 of them.
Yeah,
There was obviously the one that has been out that tells one story to a point, and then there's another one that comes out that tells another story to another point, and then the last film I believe was meant to go up to Siege of Orgrimmar, and that was it.
Because I think people realise the title Warcraft isn't actually the same as the game, because it's all before.
Yeah.
And then, like, Siege of Orgrimmar is currently where we're at. Well,
No,
it's
not anymore.
Like 4 years ago, 5, 6?
Not about 6-7 years, I think.
Draenor. 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm getting old. I was playing that in high school, but like no one realises how far like the films actually are based off, or the old books with the old games from like what 1980s, 1990s. When did Warcraft 1 and 2 happen?
I don't know. I haven't like looked that far back into.
I have, but I'm a geek, so it's fine.
I will give a massive shout out to Blizzard's cinematography team for any of their visual effects for trailers.
That's what got me on
Yeah.
effects.
They are insane. They
That's
are mini movies within themselves.
I can contribute to this bit.
Yay!
I used to love Overwatch.
Huh?
Overwatch.
Yeah.
And all the cinematic lore bits that they did for that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I can contribute to this bit.
To be fair, you can't. I don't think you can fault any Blizzard cinematic. Like they're all
So
absolutely
good.
good. Like it's the one thing. Like League of Legends trailers and Blizzard cinematics got me into like wanting to do VFX. But then realising how much effort they put into a single trailer, it's like.
Yeah.
But they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like,
Ubisoft smash it out as well with the Assassin's Creed series. I mean,
Yeah.
the game's questionable now, but in terms of the cinematography, like it is something else. Like it's such a whoever they're hiring to come in and do those are really worth the money they're paying for them.
I think the hardest thing is as well because like everybody wants to get into those, but there's no main studio in England for that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it is Canada. So like they're based in like Canada or India or America. Like, so if you're from the UK and you want to go into that, you have to kind of commit to like
moving
a wider search.
Yeah, it's impressive. Well, we do have a true or false section. I think this is primarily for the audience, but we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on our manifesto, we managed to, true or false, run our first mental health lounge.
Well, if we get it wrong, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Hey!
True.
True.
You're going to say false, weren't you? You're 100%
I was going to just do it to be devil's advocate. But yeah, you know, true.
On our manifesto, we've managed to end COVID.
False.
No.
No.
Oh.
Yep, I really wish we had. That'd be great. How did you solve COVID? Well, we had this really good student union team in Staffordshire. They're incredible. But yeah. Next, true or false? We improved our departmental and course rep communication.
True. Rep Savvy's online and
Yeah.
ready to go.
And Staff 100 as well, because we have quite a lot of course reps and department reps that have put their names forward for that, which has been really helpful.
Maximise potential.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. All about that inclusivity, man. True or false? We managed to run our first creativity sales opportunity for students.
This one I've got to think about
Exactly.
because I know you're working on it, but I
Hey.
don't know if you've actually had anything come to, I say fruition yet. I don't know if you've had anything as such come forward out of it yet. I want to say true because
So-
I really want you to have done something in that aspect because it's such a cool idea. But because of the current situation, I wouldn't know.
So I'm going to go back to the words. Run our first creativity sales opportunity for students.
False.
Correct.
Yeah.
False.
Yeah, we all agree.
Is that
with
what
that?
asking me? You just said correct.
Yeah.
I was like,
Just make sure.
can I get it right?
It's true. I have not yet successfully had our first creativity sales opportunity right off the ground, but we are in the process of getting it set up. So,
Yeah.
just thought I'd throw in, a bit of a
A
curveball.
curveball.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. True or false? Improve our overall engagement via social media.
True. I would say
Yeah,
because we've
100%.
expanded
Yeah,
as
100%.
such.
COVID-19 equals
Yeah.
online solutions.
Absolutely. I just want to say, I think we've done, as a team, I think we're doing really well in terms of just putting that video content out when we need to. I think, I know we're all a bit anxious about it moving forward, say with this podcast, we're all a bit anxious about doing it and just getting it off the ground, but I think what we've become comfortable with doing is just getting it done because we have to, especially given we can't reach students how we normally like to. So I think it's a big shout out to the team for managing to do that. I know some people struggle with that. It's not so bad for me, but I know overall as a team, it's been great effort overall. Manifesto, we managed to, true or false, provide parent carers with kids' activities.
True.
Yes, it is true. We have managed to do that successfully. Big up Luke Jenkins. I think Jenkins is the guy who runs it. I think it is. I'm not sure, but either way, big up Luke. Helping us with that. So yeah. Any closing overviews and news updates from anybody? I think we need to mention the travel window at some point. I don't know too much about it personally, but I know that overall as a team, I think we can pull that out of the bag. What are you saying?
Yeah.
I think the main advice is obviously the travel windows between the 3rd and the 9th, was it?
Uh-huh.
So if students are able to go home during those times, please do your best. I think the biggest emphasis we can put on there is that if you travel home during those times and you get a COVID-19 notification, you can self-isolate from home. If you get a COVID-19 notification after those dates, it means you may not make it home for Christmas, which is the main aim of it anyway. So unfortunately, it's kind of like one of those, if you can get home as early as you can. But obviously, don't forget, like we are doing activities, like Carter said over Christmas as well. I don't even know what I'm doing yet. I may be here for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like.
It just depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, like.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's everything, I guess we should probably ask the students if there's any particular theme you want us to run next time we do this. Any feedback at all in terms of the content we are giving out. We plan on doing a couple more of these and having a couple of guests later on down the production, I assume. But yeah, any content, any themes, anything you want us to talk about in terms of topics, please just give us a message. This should be going on Facebook, I think.
And
Hopefully on
any
Instagram.
activities they want us to do.
Yeah, any
safe,
activities. Any
safe activities.
So Connor really wants you to allow him to play World of Warcraft in front of everybody for at least an hour and a half.
Oh.
Don't let him do that. Maybe the Xbox or maybe something stupid, I don't know. So yeah, that's everything from us.
Amazing. Happy Fridays.
Happy first podcast, guys.
Yeah.
This is it. That's what we're about.